Hey everyone, we are going to change fractions to decimals. So the first example we have here is 37 over 40, okay? And how do we change this fraction to a decimal? Well, we divide. That's how we do it. We always divide. When we're dividing, your numerator is your dividend and your denominator becomes your divisor. So it's going to look like this. So our dividend goes inside the fraction house and our divisor goes outside. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a decimal. We're going to add a decimal to our dividend, a decimal and a 0. Okay, and we're going to bring that decimal up. Remember when we were dividing decimals, we learned about that? It's okay if you have a decimal in the dividend. It's just not okay if you have a decimal in your divisor. Okay, so that is an important thing to note. So it's okay if there's a decimal here. So we're going to add a decimal here after 37 and we're going to bring it up. Okay, a decimal and a 0. Our answer has to be less than 1 because fractions are less than 1 unless it's improper. Or if there's a whole number, obviously the whole number won't be less than 1. But the fraction part, if it's proper, will be less than 1. Okay, so let's divide this out. How many times does 40 go into 37? Can it go into 37? It cannot. So that's going to be a 0. 40 times 0 is 0. Subtract. We're left with 37 again, right? Okay. And then we're going to bring that 0 down. Okay, and ask ourselves again, how many times does 40 go into 370? So we're going to look at our multiplication chart. 40 goes into 370 9 times. 40 times 9 is 360. Subtract. 10 left over. Okay, well, 40 can't just go into 10, so what should we do? What should we do? Well, we're going to add another 0, and we're going to bring it down. Okay, now can 40 go in 100? Absolutely. 40 goes into 100 twice. And remember, the only reason why I was able to add another 0 is because we have that decimal there. If there was no decimal there, I can't add zeros. Right? Because then it would be like I'm going from 337 to 370 to 3,700 to 37,000. Those are big jumps, right? We can't just add zeros. Just like you can't add zeros to your bank account. That'd be nice, right? If we could add zeros to our bank account. But if you have a decimal there, it doesn't matter how many zeros I add, it's still going to be 37. It's almost like a little stop sign, right? 37. Stop. Not changing. Then in all these zeros, all the way to infinity, is not going to affect anything. Alright, so 40 goes into 100 2 times, so 40 times 2 is 80. Subtract. We get 20 left over. Can 40 go into 20? Nope. So what do you think we're going to have to do? I hope you said add another 0, so let's do it. How many times does 40 go into 200? Goes in 5 times perfectly. 40 times 5 is 200. Subtract. Nothing left over. So once you get to that 0, you can stop. You don't have to keep adding any more zeros up here. We're done. So 37/40ths converted into a decimal is 0.925 or 925 thousandths. Okay? If I were to take this number and I wanted to make this into a fraction, like the other video, 925 thousandths would look like this. And you're like, wait a minute, how come it doesn't look like this? Well, what do I have to do to get this to look like this? I have to simplify it. Okay, so if I simplify it down, I would get this fraction. Okay, so let's do it really quick. I'm going to take both of them down by 5. So 925 divided by 5 is 185. So if I divide this by 5, and you don't have to do it when I'm just showing you that when we convert this back to a fraction, it goes back to this. I'm just kind of giving you an example here. So 185, and take 1,000 by 5. Okay, let's bring it down again. Let's bring it down by another 5. What do you think? 185 divided by 5. Aha, here we go. 37 over 40. So you can see when we convert it back, the decimal, when we convert it back to a fraction, it eventually goes back to the number we converted it from, right? Just to kind of show you how they flip-flop back and forth. Let's look at another example. Let's look at an example with a whole number. So we have 13 and 17/20. And I want to convert this to a decimal, okay? So, the only part I can convert to a decimal would be the fraction part. This part is going to remain a whole. So when I write my number, it's going to be like 13 point something, okay? That doesn't change. So I'm just going to convert this part, the fraction. So my numerator is my dividend. The denominator is my divisor. Okay. My next step, decimal, 0. Bring the decimal up. Okay. Can 20 go into 17? No. So in my last example, I went ahead and wrote a 0. I'm going to show you how it works when I don't write a 0. Can 20 go into 170? Yes. How many times? So let's see. 20 times 5. Let's see. 20 times 8. 160. So that works, right? So it goes in 8 times. 20 times 8, 160. Subtract. 10 left over. Can 20 go into 10? No. So what should we do? I hope you said add a 0, because remember there's a decimal there, so I can keep adding zeros forever. So let's add one. Can 20 go into 100? Absolutely. 20 goes into 100 5 times. 20 times 5 is 100. Nothing left over. Okay, well, since there's nothing left over, I don't need to bring any more zeros down. We're good. So my answer is 13.85. That is how I convert 13 and 17/20 into a decimal. 13.85. And if you pop this into a calculator, you will see it's the same. 17 divided by 20 is 0.85. Okay? All right, hopefully this made sense to you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.